everybody, and welcome to a 3-episode special from the two parts of the Dream Team Tonic team. It's me, Tony, and with me as usual is Ben.
How you doing, mate?
All right, mate. No James. He's having a holiday, having a bit of a recuperation over the summer, so he won't be involved. But this is our first podcast of 3 that we're going to do in affiliation with Fanteam for their £1 million Euros game. So we're going to split it across into 3 pods. First, we're going to cover the rules, and we're going to touch on a bit of our strategy going into this game, which is a massive, massive tournament. Obviously, £1 million guaranteed prize pool, which is absolutely huge. I think it's unheard of in fantasy football terms. First place prize of 200k, which is life changing. I think you'll agree, Ben. That'd be
definitely.
Nice. So we'll delve straight into the rules. Don't want to bore people too much, but obviously there will be some people that are completely new to Fanteam. So if you are, this will help you out. And maybe if you have already played Fanteam, there's a few tweaks and stuff within a tournament game. So just quickly run through all the rules. So you've got a starting budget of 105 million to build your initial team, which consists of 15 players, 2 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 3 forwards. Obviously, you've got 4 players on your bench who come in a little bit like FPL rules. They come in if one of your players doesn't play in any given match day. You can select a maximum of 3 players from one team, again similar to FPL, in the game weeks 1, 2, 3, and the round of 16. It's a maximum of 4 for the quarterfinals from each team and 7 from a team within the semi-finals and final. So obviously, as teams are knocked out, obviously there's not as many players to choose from, so it gives you more options that way. Obviously, in the run-up to the tournament, you can make as many changes as you want to your team. Well, obviously, without being penalised for it. So I think it starts at 8 o'clock on the Friday the 11th of June. So any change you make up until then, it doesn't really matter. From game week 2 onwards, the deadline for the transfers and team changes will be 90 minutes prior to the first kickoff. Get that in your head, because that'll be a big one. That maybe you're waiting, I don't know, for a lineup or something to come out. That might catch a few people out. Do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, definitely.
It's probably about making sure there's some big sign up somewhere, making sure I'm doing it 90 minutes before. Don't want to be caught short with that. Another interesting one, obviously within a tournament format, obviously being so short, but there will be player price rises. They can rise and fall based on form and in-game transfer activity. Daily price rises will occur between 11 and 1 at the evening to the morning, so just keep an eye on that. All player prices will be frozen whilst the game week 4 wildcard is available. Let's just make sure everyone's on an even keel there. A player's sell price is the same as the buy price. So I think the way I'm taking that is that you're not going to have to worry about losing value on a player.
Yeah, correct.
Obviously that would be quite harsh in a short format. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Each week or each match day, it will choose a captain and a vice captain each week. Your captain scores double points. If your captain doesn't play, your vice captain will score double points as long as he plays as well. If neither of them play, that's a little bit tough. You won't be having a double points for any of your players. If you are familiar with FPL, you get 1 free transfer every week. Each match day, I need to get used to saying that. So 1 free transfer. You can build it up to 2. You can roll over 1. You can never have any more than 2 before each match day starts. And if you do make additional transfers, which you are able to, they're going to cost you 4 points each. Is that something you'll be doing, Ben?
Well, I'm hoping not to. Yeah, hoping just to set my team up for the next 3 games, 1 transfer a week. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you don't know. Obviously, form injuries, suspensions, you never know, do you? But it's not when you want to be taking lightly a 4-point hit.
Yeah, it should be all right with the extra 5 million in the bank to help build a squad.
Yeah, you should be fine. think it's centre around making sure players are playing
Yeah.
um, as best as you can. Obviously, injuries, suspensions, you can't really help, but yeah, it's another big one. Obviously, strategy wise, there's a wild card available, which is from the round of 16. So obviously, once the group stages are set and you know all the teams who are qualified to the knockouts, then you're going to have a wild card available, which you can switch in and out as many players as you like, and it will not cost you anything, which is massive. Because I think it obviously the strategy now is just to build a team for the first three lots of games
Yeah.
at the group stage. You're not having to concentrate or think about who might qualify and such as in other games maybe you do. I know we have to in Dream Team with only having 20 transfers throughout the whole thing. You can't save your wild card, you can't roll it, so it's got to be used before the round of 16. If it's not, you've lost it, it's done for. Um, they're also being a little bit generous and giving you 3 free transfers in both game week 5, which is the quarters, and game week 6, which is the semis. So it just keeps you active through the whole tournament, or should do. Keeps you plugging away, especially if you're losing players left, right, and centre. There is a late registration for the tournament. I'm hoping that everyone's in there beforehand, but they do allow people to register late teams, which is before is open until game week 2 kicks off on Wednesday, the 16th of June. The late registration teams, they will start on 100% of the game week 1 average. So the average amount that everybody's scored over that first game week, that is what the late registration teams will start on. It's always a little bit of a sore subject for some people, this one, Ben, but what do you
Yeah.
think about
Well, if people want to do it, it's up to them. I know somebody, or I know a few people have done it, and in the Premier League one this season, and they waited to see who started well, and then they made the teams, and it didn't go too well for them anyway. So you're probably best just starting from the beginning.
Yeah, and hoping you get a cracking start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go for that as well. Interesting one here as well. I read earlier is all scoring for 90 minutes and injury time only. So extra time and penalty shootouts are not included. So in the round of 16 onwards, obviously, extra time is quite common
Yeah.
in knockout football. But any points scored tallied up in that in them extra 30 minutes will not be included. Pardon me. So yeah, don't be if one of your players is getting a couple of goals in extra time, you're going to be a little bit gutted. But
Yeah.
those are the rules. No transfers can be made after game week 6, which is the semi-finals. So after the 3 transfers that you're going to give you before the semi-finals, that's it. You are able to change your formation, bench order, and captain, vice captain, though. So you're still allowed to make the tweaks between your 15, but you won't
Yeah.
be able to make any transfers inwards
So
or outwards.
so basically, you pick the 2 teams you think are going to get to the final and build your team out of them.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best option in it.
Yeah.
The budget may increase after game week 3, which is going to depend on which teams are still in the tournament, because obviously Fanteam, they do have to make it where you could still build a team.
Mm.
So the budget increases will be announced when qualifying teams are known. So that's a quick run through of all the rules. Obviously, the way it's scored is, I think it's pretty much different to every game out there, every fantasy football game out there. Does make it different. So your player gets a point for every for his playing time up to 60 minutes. If he plays over 60 minutes, he gets another point. So if he plays over 60 minutes, he gets 2 points straight off the bat. If a midfielder or forward plays the full match, he gets another point. So just having somebody who maybe isn't subbed as much, Ben, I mean, you're getting 3 points straight away, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, like
So
your main men of the team, they should get 3 points straight away, shouldn't they?
yeah. So again, you're looking for solid options, players that aren't subbed, they're nailed in their side.
Yeah.
Always important. like I say, them 3 points can be pretty important, especially when you keep accumulating them. So I think they've done this for Alisson, who sadly won't be at the Euros, but goal scored by a goalkeeper, bit 8 points. Goal scored by a defender, 6 points. Goal scored by a midfielder, 5, and goal scored by a forward, 4. So yeah, you want goal scorers in your team, goal scoring defenders especially, them extra few points.
Yeah.
I think there's quite a few knocking around. It's a shame Sergio Ramos ain't there.
Yeah. It was on penalties, wasn't he? Free
Yeah,
kicks.
another penalty, free kick taking defender. But yeah, I did a write up earlier about Ramos, and then next thing you know, he's been left out squad, which isn't great. But see how they go. Go on. Clean sheets, goalkeepers and defenders get 4 points if they play 60 or more minutes. If they get subbed off on 58 minutes, they're not getting the clean sheet bonus, which is infuriating.
Yeah.
Another one that we have probably been itching to get into Dream Team, Ben, is clean sheet for a midfielder.
Yeah.
1 point, which I say 1 point can make a difference. You get a player who plays for a solid team. You get a bonus if they keep a clean sheet, which is good to see. Assist is +3. It doesn't matter what position the player plays; he gets +3. A goalkeeper's save. So for every save your goalkeeper makes, so he gets plus 0.5 points. If he makes 10 saves, he's going to get 5 points. So again, you want a keeper who's going to be keeping clean sheets in the main. But if he's got quite a bit of a leaky defence in front of him who likes to let him earn his money, they can be quite handy to have goalkeepers in this game. You know, obviously, Ben, playing the Premier League game can be quite important with them save points.
Bit like Martinez during the Premier League season.
Yeah, he's got bucket loads of clean sheets, but on top of that, obviously, Villa have been conceding a lot of shots on target. So yeah, he just filled his boots with them points, didn't he? So if you can find someone like that within the tournament, you could do pretty well. Penalty saved, goalkeeper gets 5 points. So if the team wins in the period the player is on the pitch, so obviously if he gets subbed off and then the team stops winning, it doesn't count, but he gets plus 0.3 points for that. So obviously you're aiming for teams that are winning anyway, but you'll see that extra bit of bonus points go on there. And these are the ones I like, Ben. Just introduced newly to Fanteam is the shots on goal. Forward and midfielder shot on goal is plus 0.4 points, and a shot on goal by a defender is plus 0.6. And then obviously Alisson there again, a shot on goal by a goalkeeper is 1 point, which there won't be. I don't think there'll be too many of them, but you never know. Dying minutes coming up for errors, it can happen. As that new obviously that new way of the point scoring with the shots, has that changed any of your drafts when you've been putting your teams together, Ben?
There's a couple of players I've reconsidered now that because they've got the shots and they're like the talisman of the team, but they don't play for one of the best teams. So definitely got a couple of them in my side.
Yeah, someone who's obviously, if they're on penalties, free kicks, if they're taking a lot of set plays, and I think it's probably tweaked my way of thinking as well with a couple of players.
Get your greedy players in, lads.
Yeah,
and lasses.
Yeah, definitely. In one of the routes I did, we touched on Memphis Depay, and he's probably the greediest person in European football. But and then when this come about, he's like, he's a definite. He's a definite for me.
Yeah,
it does make a difference to strategy. If your team loses in the period the player is on the pitch, he gets minus 0.3. So obviously, when you're picking your differentials and your players from the lesser sides, keep that in mind. Again, if you're a goalkeeper or defender concedes 2 goals, it's -1. So obviously you don't want your players to be conceding 2. Hopefully you're not picking any teams that will be doing that too often. an own goal scored, they are punished in this game, and it's -2. A penalty miss, I think this is quite quite lenient. A penalty miss -2. I think it should be a bit harsher than that, Ben.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that -2. Yeah,
I think it depends on whether the keeper saves it or not. If this guy, it should be -5.
yeah,
But,
that's a good point.
but yeah, the yellow card is -1. Red card -3. This is another good scoring thing I like is a foul resulting in a scored free kick is -2, and a foul resulting in a penalty is -2. I think
Yeah,
they're good little point scores. Those.
try and stay away from the dirty players.
That's it. Yeah, those that like to give away a few penalties. That's all the points. So that's how you score your points. And that's how you have to go about it. Obviously, we did touch earlier. It is the £1 million guaranteed prize pool, 200,000 to first place guaranteed. And I mean, second place ain't too bad at 100,000. Third, 60,000. Fourth, 37,000. So some massive prizes. £20 entry. And the top 10,377 players will make a profit. You'll end up with 30 quid for each team that finishes in the top 10, like 10.5k, which I think is massively doable, Ben. What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, definitely. Very, very good prizes on show. It's definitely worth putting a few teams in.
Yeah, definitely. Um, get 2 or 3 teams in at least, and I think you'll be seeing your money back if you plan decent enough. Um, definitely, could see some returns. It'd be nice to get up to that in that top 10. Would be
Yeah,
nice. Obviously, that'd be stuff of dreams, like. But yeah,
get your teams in first and second. You got 300 grand.
oh, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
That'd be nice. When,
life changing.
yeah, definitely. So strategy wise, Ben, just for people that are listening, what you doing? What's your thoughts going into when you're obviously you're there looking at your 15 spaces. What you
Yeah.
attacking? What you're looking at first off, mate?
Um, I'm looking at. I don't know whether to go with 4 at the back at the moment, but I've got 3 at the minute. But at the moment, I'm thinking 4 at the back because the games always seem to be very tight at the start of the tournaments. No one wants to give anything away.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, especially with the first game, you can change your team all the way up to the beginning of the first game, which is Italy versus Turkey. So you get to see the lineups for that. So you could look at that and see what players you can.
yeah. It's a good shout. Obviously,
Yeah.
targeting set play players for the shots on
Mm.
target, especially like you say, someone like Alaba who takes free kicks as a defender. Yeah, it's a good strategy to have. The Donnarumma one interests me. Is his price? I thought he would have been the most expensive. Italians notoriously tough to break down.
Yeah.
Kept quite a hell of a lot of clean sheets. 100% certain on the start of that, but I know they've kept a lot of clean sheets over the last 12 months or so. So it's again looking solid. It's interesting the formation because in most formats of games I'll probably go 3 at back, and I've found with all my drafts I've put into this game, I've always gone 4.
Yeah.
I've always ended up with 4 at back, which is it just natural. We weren't thinking about it much, but I just think there's quite a lot of options defensively. I'm looking at defenders with the attacking returns mainly,
Yeah.
especially from the bigger sides. When like you say it's going to be tight opening games. Italy Turkey, I could see a 0-0. I could see a 0-0 Italy Turkey because I think Turkey probably a bit of a dark horse in it.
Yeah. Definitely.
going forward to forward players. Obviously, I don't need to reveal your team yet. We'll save that for the episode 3. But obviously, people are very quick just to put. I think Ronaldo, Mbappe, Kane. Is it anything you've looked at when you go in you picking your strikers or your attacking midfielders? Is there anything you're looking at that end other than scoring goals?
Do you want to pause it there, mate?
Yeah,
I'll be looking at fixtures to start with. See, and obviously there's teams playing at home in the group stages, so be looking at that home
yeah, that's going to be big, isn't
advantage.
it?
Yeah, I love looking at set pieces, see who's on the free kicks, penalties and corners, and out of position players definitely is a big thing for me. If you can get obviously like I just said, Alaba, he's a defender. Get players like that who will play further up the pitch.
Yeah,
They've got more chance of scoring.
yeah, definitely. That home advantage one that threw me a little bit. I wasn't 100% on how many teams had such an advantage, but looking through it, I think
Yeah,
Italy play all the group games at home.
yeah,
Denmark play all the group games at home. Holland play
yeah,
all the group games at home. England play all the group games at home. Spain do as well. Germany, obviously, it's not so much of an advantage when obviously you've got such a tough group, but yeah, they've got all their games at home. I think that could be massive. That could be massive in deciding quite a lot of these games. Um, it does make the games a little bit more difficult for the other sides. Like Belgium, I don't think Belgium have an home game, do they? Not a
no,
host. So Belgium would be away from home for all 3 of their games. Does that put you off Belgium?
no, not at all. I think
No.
they're a class side.
I think
Definitely be
tournament
looking at a few of
football,
them.
you got to get used to the fact that usually tournaments only have one home side.
Yeah,
So I don't think it's too big of a deal. But all the home sides will have as many fans as they are allowed into the stadium, cheering them on. So it could have an impact. It probably makes England a little bit more attractive for me. I think Spain, Italy, and Holland were always going to be high up my list anyway, and I think
yeah,
that's just completely cemented them 3 teams for me. I think strategy wise, I want nailed players. Got to be nailed. I don't want anybody who's a bit. Well, he might play or he might start ahead of somebody. I want
yeah,
somebody who probably doesn't have any competition for his spot.
mm,
And I think that helps as well with the. Obviously, you want the player to play the full 90 minutes, don't you?
yeah,
If you take a look across to, say, England's left hand side, it'd be great. Foden might have a great tournament. You've got Grealish, um, Sterling. Sterling's still in the squad. You've got 3 players there who he's probably going to chop and change.
yeah. England's very tricky team to pick players from.
Yeah,
We don't.
you've got Harry Kane.
Yeah, yeah. He's the only one you could say he's nailed.
Yeah. Every other position, yeah, it's a bit of a minefield. So my recommendation to everyone: get out there, get your homework done on all the lineups that have been previously, UEFA Nations League, the World Cup qualifiers. See who the favourites are, the managers.
Yeah,
These friendlies that are been played over the last few days, they're not really giving too much away.
no,
There's been a lot of changes. There've been different formations probably tried out. I think when it comes to like the nitty gritty and the bigger games, I think you need to track back and just see who the players are, trusted by the manager. Make sure obviously you're checking up on any injuries going into the tournament and stuff. Some players carrying knocks like De Bruyne. He's probably a first name on everyone's team sheet. He's obviously looking to miss the first game, so everyone's having to readjust, change. Are they going to be using their transfer to bring De Bruyne in for the second game? There's lots to go over. but yeah, strategy wise, how many differentials do you think you throw in your team? Are you happy enough that you don't actually need
Um,
a differential, if you will?
I've at the moment my team's got a couple of differentials, nothing massive at the minute. But obviously, as the picture changes every day, and you see the friendlies, my team could change again. It's not
Yeah,
nailed yet, but I'm pretty happy with my team.
yeah. I'm pretty settled. Things can change quite quick. As we're recording now, there's a week to go. Um, so yeah, it can change very fast. Um, Again, the differential options would be as well. There'd be players that are still nailed in their sides. They might be from lesser teams if they do get into my side. Um, yeah, there's always a few diamonds out there, isn't there? A tournament.
Yeah,
There's always a player who probably come up and the next thing you know, he's going for big money after having a great tournament. And there's someone who comes from nowhere, or obviously this usual player who not playing for one of the bigger sides, but he's quite well known. There's quite a lot knocking around. I think we'll touch that on in the next episode with a lot of differentials and players that we're going to be targeting. So hopefully it's cleared a few of the rules up this and the strategy wise and what we're going to be going for. Um, sound too obvious. Obviously, we plan for the fixtures, but there's some important information in there where hopefully it's helped you out. Make sure you keep tuned. Second episode won't be far behind this, and we're going to go through a hell of a lot of players and touch upon who will probably be looking to make our final draft. So thanks very much for listening. If you've not signed up yet, we're going to drop the link below at Fanteam Official on Twitter. Get following them. Get all the information. There's a lot of good content out there. Fill your boots with it all. Make sure you're comfortable enough. Obviously, 18 plus, gamble aware, and all that. But it's a tournament that, yeah, it's big and it's life changing money. If you get it right, you get your 15 players right, and you put your strategy right, uh, you could be very well off in a month's time. So yeah, thanks from me.
cheers everyone.
Cheers.